Hey everybody. It's such a beautiful morning. I just wanted to kind of share the sun peeking through those trees. It's been a while since I've done a garden tour. And actually what I've been doing was just trying to get my garden back into good repair and then take video of all the things that I did, the steps that I took to do to get my garden prepared for the fall, winter. And well, all that footage that I got is gone. Uh, I lost it. So now I'm just gonna have to show you photos of how I did stuff instead of actual um, video. I don't know where that pen came from, but never can find a pen when I need it. When I don't need one, they're all over the place. So anyway, I just wanted to show you. Okay, so this is what I've done so far. I mean, my garden is still a mess. There's still tons of work that I need to do. In this first bed here, um, I did a chop and drop of everything that was growing in this bed. And then I covered it over with a whole bunch of compost and yard waste and kitchen waste and leaf litter that I had. And I put a layer of that down next. And then on top of that, I put some manure that I bought, um, a real good thick layer of manure. And then after that, I topped it off again with some leaf litter and that I had sitting around since last year's fall. So I know that a lot of times people say, to break up the leaves a lot smaller pieces is better. But I just took what was there. And some of the pieces were bigger. And I tried chopping some of it up. But for the most part, um, I'm just going to try and see what happens with this bed. In fact, all three of these beds, all three of my low-lying beds here, I did something different so that I'll be able to see what works best. And then I can go with that method for everything. So that's what I'm doing right now. I just wanted to show you I did leave some things intact in this bed, like this tomato, for instance. This tomato plant, I left it. I can't bring myself to take it out because it has a little tomato, two tomatoes for. Also here I have onions that kind of died off a little bit, and then while I was away on that mini vacation, and then after I got back, I realized that my water wasn't working. The water wasn't working like it was supposed to, and so oh, that's just paper. So I made the adjustments so that the water would work like it's supposed to, and then these onions came back, so I couldn't get rid of them either. I left them in there in this bed. So far it's just a tomato plant and those onions, and on this side there's a few onions that I left in. And I love onions, so if there's any way that those onions will are able to survive, then I'm happy. And I have this is the sausage tomato plant. It still has tomatoes on it, so I haven't removed it out of its container yet. I will eventually, after these tomatoes ripen. I'll take this out and put something else in this container for over the winter. And then this container over here has tomatoes still too that are growing. So, and this one is almost ripe. So I'm just gonna leave it and let it finish doing what it do. Okay, so this bed, I put flakes of straw. I had some bales of straw from last year, that last fall, that I just have sitting around. I never used them all the way. I had the straw so I could use in my chicken coop, and I have used it in there, but I had like 5 big bales of straw. And I was watching Luke at migardener, and he was talking about, I was watching his video, and he was talking about how he buried some small straw bales in his garden, and how it just completely turned into black soil, really good soil once it broke down. So this is my attempt at it. So what I did was I just took each flake, and I just lined them all up in here so that the whole bed was completely covered by them. And then I put manure on top of that, and then I put pine needles as a mulch on top of the manure. So nothing, I've not dug down, tilled, anything. Everything I'm just covering over and layering, and seeing how that works out. As best as I can, I want to try and have a no-dig, no-till garden, and just continue to layer stuff, organic matter, compost, manure, stuff like that, all natural stuff, to eventually get the soil the way that I want it to be. Because if I don't do that, the soil that we have here is rocky and clay-like, and it's not good. So I'm just trying to build up my soil. This bed here, I once again, I didn't dig anything or till anything. I just covered over everything. So I covered over everything with weeds and grass and stuff that was growing in this bed. And then I put a lot of manure on top of that. And then on top of that, I put wood chips. So this one is wood chips, pine needles, leaf litter on that one. So, and so far, this one is doing really good. I have a lot of growth. I already planted this one, and there's a lot of things popping up in this bed already. There's broccoli. I have 2 rows of broccoli, a row of cabbage, and I planted some onions, 2 rows of onions by seed, to see what happens. I know last year the onions that I planted by seed were, they didn't start growing. They stayed dormant all winter. The seeds did. Stayed dormant all winter. And then as soon as the weather conditions was great for spring, all of a sudden I saw onions growing. And so I figure I'll just try it again. Plant some onions in here and see if it does the same thing. And then I can just make adjustments to how I do things based off of what I'm experiencing. So these are sugar snap peas that I had planted in here, and then these are little marvel peas on this side. I can't wait for these to grow because peas are so sweet, so good, especially those sugar snap ones. And then here's another tomato. This one I'll probably take out. It doesn't have any fruit growing on it. It hasn't bared any fruit at all. I've been having problems with it, with the wind blowing it all over the place, and so I'm gonna end up putting something else in this container. This tomato over here was my Kellogg breakfast tomato, tomato that I showed you guys that I had harvested off of here that was orange, that real pretty orange color. Well, it started producing fruit again. So I think what I'm going to do is just wait it out and see if it can, if this fruit can mature and everything before the frost hit. I don't know. Um, and then over here in my containers, I have to take out these tomatoes. This tomato right here, I'm just waiting for the rest of them to finish ripening. You can see already that they're already started to ripen. And once they're finished, then that's coming out. And I haven't weeded over here yet, so I need to weed. But you can see an example of all these long grasses and stuff that's growing here. That's what's inside this bed. Um, so, and my lemon is doing good. And so far, oh, and my apple. Oh my goodness. I saw the blossoms when they set on here. I was amazed that they even set like that again. I didn't thin them so that the apples would be big, so they're not very big. They're just little. But I think it's just so cute. I like the color and everything on there. And I wasn't even expecting any more apples, so it was a nice little surprise. Um, let's see, this fig over here that I showed you guys before. Look at it now. It's got all these leaves coming out on it. And so I'm happy about that. I'm going to have to weed everything. Okay, so I did a video where I couldn't tell if a plant that was growing inside the container with my lemon, I couldn't tell if it was a fig seedling or fruitless mulberry, because I have a fruitless mulberry tree here. And so I finally decided that it's fruitless mulberry. So I dug them out and replanted them, potted them here, and all the leaves, everything just died off. The stem is still alive though, so I'm hopeful that it's just shedding all these leaves so that it can reemerge. But and that I didn't kill him by moving them, but I had to move them. They couldn't stay in with my lemon in that little container. And then all of these right here are hibiscus cuttings that I had succeeded in growing. And so, yeah. I don't know if you notice, I'll just do it from this angle. I don't know if you notice over here in the background, there's a trap, a big trap right there. It's a dog trap that my neighbor is allowing me to use. In some of the other video footage that I lost, I talked about how a raccoon has been attacking and killing my chickens and eating my chickens during the night. It's already managed to get 3 of my chickens. And I set a trap on the other side of the yard, and I was able to catch one raccoon. And I thought that was the troublemaker. And the third chicken that was killed, it actually survived the attack. That its first attack, it survived, and I was nursing it back to health, and it was doing great, and I was about to put her back with the rest of my girls, and that raccoon, a different raccoon, came back here and took her out of the cage that I had her in, that her little med station that I had her in. And I'll show you that right here. I had her in this cart right here, and I had you can see the doorway is, he moved it. It moved the door off the front that I had hooked on there, and I had that brick right there blocking in front of it. Anyways, it got her and killed her after I spent a couple of weeks rehabbing her, and got her back healthy and happy. She was cooing and doing the little chicken purr and everything. And then that raccoon came and got her. And this raccoon was bigger than the one that I caught that I had animal control relocate. So that's why I have a bigger trap. I'll show you the other trap on the other side. But I just wanted to talk about these peppers. Look at these peppers. This is the best that most success I've had with peppers. Last year I had planted jalapeno and bell peppers, California Wonder bell peppers, and cayenne peppers, and the banana peppers. And the only one that did really well was the cayenne peppers. All my other peppers, they never really amounted to anything. So this is the first success I've had with peppers. And I'm happy. This is huge. It's not as wide as I think they should be, or that they could be, but I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I'll take this any day. And I believe these are the 3-sided Syrian peppers that I planted. Oh, I got a little one coming up right here. This is a yellow monster. But they look all ratty because the wind just devastates my garden. We get really bad winds here in the high desert. And these are poblano peppers, and I have a lot of them hanging right here. I plan on making a soup with these. But yeah, our winds are horrible. So this is all pretty much the good stuff, right? I haven't shown you the bad stuff yet, and this is what I'm getting at now. Okay, so in the front you see the peppers, but in the back it's just chaos and hot mess right there. I'm gonna have to get all that stuff covered over and prepped so I can plant some lettuces and stuff in the back there. This bed right here, well, I don't ever really mention this bed as much because, just it's yeah, it's like my wayward child, my rebellious one. Or maybe I'm just a neglectful parent or something. I don't know. But I have a lot of stuff just regrowing in here that I didn't want to come back. Like this catnip right here. I really didn't care for the catnip. And I know there's a lot of things that could be done with catnip. Medicinal things and teas and things like that. But my cat, I planted it only so that my cat would enjoy it, so Tiger would have a good time with it. And well, he doesn't even pay any mind to it at all. He doesn't even like it. He doesn't even come over here and mess with it at all. I just noticed that I've got some leeks coming up right here. I guess after I had harvested most of these seeds, some of them did drop back down in there, and so I have leeks growing up again through here. They just reseeded themselves. I guess I'll leave those. I'm gonna take this catnip out though, and all the rest of the other stuff. I was looking to see if I had any more cilantro volunteer and come up because I wanted to make some I'm gonna make chorizo and eggs for breakfast. And I could use some cilantro, but I don't see any in this bed. I had some reseed itself last time, and I was able to use it, and it was just so good. But anyway, so there's this bed. I'm gonna work on getting this bed tamed like I did the others. And then there's this bed over here that still has tomatoes and carrots and stuff in it, and weeds. Tomatoes, carrots, and weeds. Oh, I found an onion. Okay, so I'm gonna take that onion so I can have that with breakfast this morning too, because I don't even have any more onions left that I have bought. And so I like when I find little surprises like that in the garden. But these cherry tomatoes, I'm not gonna grow cherry tomatoes again. Um, I mean, all in all, they're not bad to have, and they last longer in the season. But I really, this type of cherry tomato is not really sweet. It's a large cherry. It's not really sweet, and after eating some of the heirloom tomatoes that I grew and tasting the sweetness and the flavor of those, I'm like, okay, these don't even measure. So I think I'm gonna grow a different variety next season and see how that works out for me. There's some people who said that they have had some really good varieties of uh, cherry tomatoes. I really want to try those. Is it Sun Gold? I think it's called tomatoes. I really want to try those. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm I'm already comprising my list for next year. Okay, so this is another shamed area right here. And I'm only going to show so much because I don't want to get, I have baited that trap with the carcass of my chicken that was killed that the raccoon left, and I don't want to get that on video. But my strawberries, they're doing okay on the bottom parts, but the top, it just got overrun by this grass right here. And then these just died. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe they were getting too much sun or something. I don't know. They were doing great all through the hot temperatures and stuff, all through the heat, and then all of a sudden it just died. So I don't know. But all the rest of these are doing okay. So I guess I'll take some of the pups off of some of these that trailed down here and just pot them and or plant them somewhere else. But all the tall grasses that was growing here killed off my onions that I had planted. Oh, there's another onion that survived that made a comeback over there. That's good to know. I go through onions like crazy. But yeah, and all the peppers that I planted here, there's only one pepper plant that grew, but the growth was stunted because the grass just took over and blocked everything out. So I'm gonna have to get these all cleared up. My beets are starting to make a comeback, which is good because I love eating the beet greens with my breakfast. I might come back out here and pick those to have for breakfast this morning too. I like being able to, oh, here's another onion that survived. I like being able to come out and do a little shopping in my garden. I love that. And that there's always something out here that's edible. I like that too. I like the savings that I have at the grocery store when I don't have to buy all these things. Okay, so now this bed. As you can see, this bed is a hot mess too. I'm about to pull all these bean plants out. I think they pretty much ran their course. That way I can let them dry out and put those beans away and grow more. Or use the ones I got. I've been collecting them so I'll have a full pot of beans. I can make a good pot of beans, you know. I still don't know what these are, but they're annoying. They don't flower or anything. They just pop up all over the place. And my husband chopped them down, and he couldn't get all the roots because they're deeply rooted. And, well, they're back again. So I'm going to have to climb up on top of this bed and dig way down and try and get all the root and everything out. I had some potatoes seed themselves. I must have missed some potatoes in the ground when I harvested them, and so I have potatoes that popped up too. This was that volunteer tomato plant that grew in my potato container, and so I still have to go through and pull out whatever potatoes, but they already started sprouting up again on their own too. And this cherry tomato, like I said, was a volunteer. And it's something because all these volunteer ones are doing great. Tomato plants doing great. This is where I had this straw stored, or some of it. And as you can see, it gets nice and wet because of the sprinkler here. And because it gets nice and wet, let me see. I can't really get to it, but underneath here you can see where it already started decaying. And it's all black where it's decaying and turning into that black soil. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen in my garden beds by me putting these straw flakes in there. So yes, and then everything else that I need to do, let's see, I need to get my shadows in the way. I need to get this pomegranate tree dug out. I'm only keeping this big one that's mature and established. Look at this guy here. My little love bug. his colors is all faded right now because he was rolling all in the dirt. That baby. But this is my sweetheart. He's out here. He loves it when I'm out here with him. And when I go inside, he goes inside and snuggles with me all day. Until I come back outside. But anyways, I need to prune this tree once it goes dormant. Prune it back. It's got all these sprouts that popped up off the top there. And I didn't finish pulling off all the pomegranates. I have about 4 or 5 left on here that I'm just waiting, letting them get to their full potential. Like this one is probably ready. They're all probably ready now. They were green before. They were big, but they were all still green, and well, they've already changed colors, so I'm gonna go on ahead and take those off. I'm gonna make some jelly with those. Now I don't know if it's gonna show. I don't know if you can see it on that leaf. There's like eggs, little tiny white eggs, and they're on all of these leaves on this whole tree. Underneath, all these little white eggs on all these leaves. I don't know what laid it, but I'm guessing next year I'm gonna have an infestation of something, because there's a lot of leaves on this tree and there's a lot of eggs on all the leaves. I don't know if you can see that because of the sun. Let's see. All that white, that's eggs. So, anyways, I have to do a lot of work on this tree here to get it back to a reasonable uh, shape. um, I can't let it just grow all wild and crazy. I want to keep it tamed down so I'll be able to get to the fruit when it bears fruit. So here's the other cage, trap that I have set for that raccoon. This was the original trap that I had where I trapped the first raccoon in. The second raccoon is bigger than the first raccoon, and I think maybe it doesn't fit in this trap. I saw it on video go inside part way and then back out and then try to get at the food from on the top and the sides. So either it's too big or it's smart and knows what it is. But so I have that set, and I'm gonna probably put some more bait in there. I have some pieces of fried chicken in there and some cat food, but I gotta up my game. Maybe I can get it in there a little bit better. Um, but what I wanted to show you was over here, on this side of my yard. I had did video step by step of what I did in these containers here. All these containers right here, I planted potatoes. I had some red potatoes and some purple potatoes, potato starts that I had sitting in my pantry, and so I went on ahead and planted those, and pretty much did what I did to those garden beds. I just, in the bottom, I put some wood chips to help absorb the water and keep the water, and then I put in compost. I put in some straw. I put in a layer of manure, and then um, topped it off with some of the leaf mulch that I had still over here. And this is where I got it from. So every time this tree sheds its leaves, this is my fruitless mulberry. Every time it sheds its leaves, I rake them all up, throw them over here. And just the way our house is positioned, um, everybody's leaves and debris ends up in my yard. So I just put it over here in this compost area. This area was supposed to be for my meat chickens, and I guess in a way it's a good thing I'm not able to get chickens right now because we're under a quarantine for Southern California, and so there's no buying, selling, trading, giving away anything chicken right now. So I couldn't get meat birds this year to do, but I guess it's a good thing because the raccoons, they come along this wall right here, and then they gain access right here. They climb down this tree, and then they come right here, and this is my chicken coop right here. So yeah, so if I had meat birds over here, uh, inside, if I had them closed off and inside in here, roosting at night, they would be easy prey for the raccoon. So anyways, what I'm thinking about doing on this trunk here of this mulberry, I'm thinking about putting a spike strip around it to try and keep the raccoons from coming down that way. And maybe if I can find like some kind of barbed wire or something that I could put across here at the top to keep them from coming in that way. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to see. I'm still trying to work out the best way I can, the best way that I can handle this situation so that I can get meat birds in the future, and then also stop losing hens. So we'll see how it all works out. And last, this is the little flower pot that I had planted. And if you remember, I had some iris orchids and nasturtium, and I planted some poppy. Well, the nasturtium actually is making a comeback because this volunteer hollyhock popped up. It was able to shield and shelter the nasturtium during the summer months, and so it didn't even die off. And then this is that orchid. I wrote it all down what it is, but the weather has taken off the writing. So, anyways, but now as you can see, this is being overrun by mint, and mint is a problem. It's very invasive. I've had some pop up in my garden beds, and I don't know how to get rid of it. I guess I can dig out the roots, but from what I know is they pop up everywhere. So, and it's not bad to have mint. But mint is good if you're going to use it like for cooking or teas and stuff like that. There's a lot of beneficial reasons for having mint around. Um, but I got to try and get contain this mint. It's just everywhere. So if you have any ideas on how to do that, if that's something that you've already conquered uh, in your garden, leave a comment and let me know. Um, but I guess that wraps up this tour. I just wanted to show you where I'm at, what has been happening, and the things that I'm doing to improve on my garden and get it ready to grow some more food. If you like the videos and stuff, please subscribe to my channel and click like, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. Any suggestions you might have, or anything like that, ways that I can improve. I'm not an expert, so I'm sure there's a lot of things that I can learn. Right now, I'm just doing a lot of experimentation to see what works best for the region that I live in, the climate, the temperatures that I live in right now. And so if you have any ideas or anything, leave a comment. And as always, God bless.